and gal, welcome back. I see Lisa in the audience. I see you, girl. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for tuning in again. It's Friday night. Actually, local time is 4:20. I've got my drug of choice. It's called food. Anyway, welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Seth Estrada, and if you're watching this, you're probably on my YouTube channel, Seth Estrada. And it means also that you probably missed some live streams of mine over on BitTube. I wanted to start here to let you know that first and foremost, I've got exclusive content that is being uploaded to Mind Your Biz over on BitTube right now, right as I'm live streaming this. So bear with me, bear with BitTube. Some of that is going up and live right now. So you see the coin project right there. There is more, I promise. And it's awesome. And I don't want to cover too much because I don't want to be redundant here. So we got FPGAs that launched today. You're probably aware, Squirrels Research, aka GPU hoarder David Stanfill, and his company, his research partners, they launched the Acorn pre-orders today. And I want to briefly touch on that right here. Without going into a deep dive, briefly touch on that right here. The website is loaded, so I don't dare do anything because their server has crashed over and over and over again today. Guys, they can't keep up. I mean, David knew it was going to be big, and when we did the exclusive on him showing some of the hardware and talking about the capabilities, we knew it was going to be big. But I don't know if any of us anticipated they would do what they did today. And let me tell you more about that in just a minute here. But first things first, I've got some... BitTube is going through some growing pains, guys. But I'm wanting to support the platform. So far, so good. They're doing their best to keep moving forward, and graciously, the development team has reached out to me and said, hey, Seth, do you have problems with this or with that? When I have problems, they're asking me real troubleshooting questions, and we're getting back through to fix stuff. So you let me know if you're on BitTube and you see like, hey, this live stream wasn't good, or I didn't like this functionality. Tell me, or join the BitStream Discord channel, BitTube Discord channel. I'm a little excited right now. Heart's pumping because I'm thinking about these FPGAs. But go over to the BitTube Discord server and talk to the development team there. They're very open. Or tell me about what's painful when you check out the live streams or when you check out the content over there. I digress. If you haven't subscribed over there, definitely make sure that you have so you get notifications when stuff comes up. If you're not a subscriber here, by all means, hit that subscribe button, click that bell icon. Thank you for being notified when I go live. Over here on mindyour.biz, I got the GPU efficiency charts. You may or may not be aware, those have been updated, and they've been updated to reflect some pretty cool price movement in GPU pricing. You might not be thinking about like, oh, I totally want to get GPUs right now, but I'm going to challenge that assumption. Right now, when profitability is low, weak hands fall out of the game and they sell off their used hardware. And right now, because we're talking about just after the bull run, people being all excited about jumping into crypto, being all excited about mining, they've got equipment that's like 3-4 months old and barely has a few hundred hours of mining on it at best. In some cases, you're going to get stuff that's functionally brand new and you're going to get it at a steal. So if you were thinking about getting GPU hardware, this might be a good time to look for used hardware. And I've got a video all about that over on BitTube. Also, some of the content that I did on the FPGAs is on BitTube this morning from earlier today as well. Go ahead and close that, get it out of the way. Shameless plug over. Let's talk about Squirrels Research. I got this page open right now. Thankfully, their server hasn't crashed again. Their website hasn't crashed yet again. And Kevin, you are not wrong, sir. GPUs are absolutely going like hotcakes right now. But we can, as miners, we can buy the dip, right? This is how we buy the dip, is by increasing, like now is a good time for CapEx. In the same way that you'd get used office furniture or like used desk or whatever from a business that's going out of business, this is a really good going out of business sale. So be aggressive in your negotiation, right? Drive those prices down and buy that dip. Get that hardware if you need it and if you're in the market. Not financial advice, right? This is educational. But you know what I'm talking about. If you're of that mindset, I'm just saying be aware. You're going to find some good deals. And if you're really shrewd, you can chase those deals even better. The Acorn makes this the perfect time to build GPU systems. As you know, I'm not a huge fan of ASICs. I haven't reviewed them. Somebody even offered to let me use a Bitfury. Was the Bitfury B8? This 50 terahash SHA-256 miner, right? A Bitcoin miner. I just said no. I don't even want to deal with it. I don't want to have to deal with don't want to have to deal with a Bitcoin miner heating up my office and maybe getting $2 to $3 of profitability a day while spending $15 to $20 in electricity. I'm not a huge fan. ASICs are planned obsolescence. Are they a reality of Bitcoin mining? Yes. Litecoin mining? Yes. Mainline top 5 market cap coins? Yeah. ASICs are out there. They're not going away. This is a reality. We've got to face that. But for the rest of the alts, and for a large portion, certainly by the numbers, the majority of the altcoins that exist today, GPU mining is a worthy endeavor, right? And we can secure those networks with GPUs if we're careful. And so, yeah, during sell-offs like this, it's an awesome time. Lance mentions you got to sell a few GPUs to make room for a few Acorns. Here's the thing. It's a good trade-off, right? Good time to trade that out. So here's the Squirrels research page right here, talking about the Acorn 101, the 215, and the 215 Plus. And what I want to do is just mention really briefly that I go over in depth all of these products on BitTube, and I don't want to go over it too much in depth right now. So many YouTubers have been going over this, and I don't want to take away what they've been doing. What I did on BitTube was very different, and let me tell you why it was different. We talked not only about these products, but we talked about in a very tactical way earlier on. We went live, and actually I didn't record that part, but we talked about very tactically how, like, what it means in terms of profitability. Using today's numbers, everything's going to change before August, right? So disclaimer, profitability numbers today, they have a short shelf life, right? Things could change radically, drastically by the time we get to August. Guys, really just briefly mention, I really appreciate you being subscribed to this channel. Thank you for hitting that like button, and thank you so much for sharing this video out on Twitter and on Reddit, especially if you're on our cryptocurrency. Really appreciate your support there. After having interviewed one of the mods of that subreddit, I sincerely hope we can get a little more FaceTime over there. But what I did with the not with the interview, but with the review of this product, the launch at least, was talk about, at least conceptually, what it means for profitability. And we went over the most popular cards, right? And we went over some of the numbers and the figures that are listed here on Squirrels Research, the Squirrels Research page, and the performance multipliers that they have here on the page, and talked about real world numbers and which algorithms and which coins became front runners when applying those performance multipliers. The results literally shocked me. I was not prepared for how different it was going to be from card to card. And I highly recommend that you put in the time either to do those calculations yourself or to check out the video on BitTube and check out the GPU efficiency chart on mineyor.biz, and then just take a calculator and figure out, with my setup, what's going to be the effect of adding an Acorn to a 4 or a 6 or a 12 GPU rig. And how am I going to do that? Which product will I need? I can say right now, spoiler alert, I will recommend very strongly that you look at the Acorn Nest X2G. These weren't even listed earlier today. They changed their front end and their menu earlier today. So here's what I can say safely is that neither David Stanfill nor Christy Lee Minahan have burdened me with today's performance numbers, right? I don't have any pre-release hardware to do tests here, and they haven't shared pre-release numbers with me. I think that would be doing the entire community a disservice to say, like, look, it's a prototype. It might not be anything like what's going to actually ship in August, but it's a prototype, and we're going to give you numbers from it, because then we all have weird expectations, and that worst case scenario, it underperforms, right? So I'm really looking forward to seeing production models hit the streets and then being able to review it at that point. I know that Vosk is going to be able to do a good job. Carter from BBT is going to do a good job. Jeremy's going to do a good job. Everybody's going to do a good job when they get their hands on them, right? But I think we need to have the production model to be able to really do it justice, in my opinion. So, yeah, Lance, you got that's a great point. Go ahead and spam the Discord server over there. Squirrels Research, they are at the ready, and I think that basically, like, they've got IV drips of like Monster Energy or something, because today has been a very hectic day for them. So Kevin also summed it up very well in the comments there. Thank you, Kevin. But bottom line, I would say if you're looking at getting an accessory to put your Acorn device into, look very seriously at the Acorn Nest X2G. I will click through to that product page because I think it's worth talking about. Here's what makes this one special, and special shout out to my audience at BitTube that kind of helped give me some training wheels here, right? We did some bumper bowling where I was like, what am I looking at? And I just kind of threw it, and they're like, Seth, no, idiot, slow down. Here's what we got for you. And they kind of helped set the record straight a little bit. And we sort of pieced this together because I couldn't be in Discord and doing all the different parts simultaneously because we were all in a GitHub repo, and then we were also looking at white papers and doing all this stuff. So thank you so much to the BitTube community and to the developers. Imperdin, I got the feeling we're going to be joined at the hip very soon because today was just awesome. So thank you so much for your support. Acorn Nest X2G. What makes it special? It will allow you to host 2 Acorn products. You can see that from right there, this diagram. What you may not see right from that diagram is up here, these 4 slots. Those are USB leads for USB risers. So with one single 16X or X16 slot on a motherboard that may not already have port multiplication built in. If you're following, you may have a chipset that doesn't allow you to split an X16 slot into 4 PCI Express slots. This does. So cool. It's so cool. So this particular host device is going to breathe new life into old motherboards, right? And old cards. So don't get rid of your old cards. The other thing about the X4, right? The Acorn Nest X4 is that it doesn't require a special chipset. If you go to Amazon, you can find the Asus. They've got the Asus PCI Express M.2 adapter that will host up to 4 M.2 devices. But it requires that you have the Intel X299 chipset. And so you're kind of painted into a corner. It's not a super popular chipset for mining. It's a very popular chipset for gaming, very popular chipset for workstation use. But on the desktop, you're going to find a lot more H110s. You're going to find a lot more H270s. You're going to find a lot more X270s, right? You're not going to find as many X299s. Not super popular a motherboard chipset. So the Asus product, you have to have that X299 chipset to get the correct, it's called bifurcation of all of those different lanes. So that way each of those 4 different M.2 adapters gets a full 4 PCI Express lanes of bandwidth. So kind of weird. So there we go. So yeah, right, Kevin, I am right with you. I am legit mind blown by this particular product, and it is amazing. So Lisa's correcting me and saying that Z270. Thank you so much. Z270. That is, I said X270. I meant Z270. That is a far better chipset for mining in terms of PCI Express total lane support for the system, total bandwidth for PCI Express. So thank you for the correction. Right here, though, the Acorn Nest X2G has me most excited because you can. I mean, this is kind of like 2 of these. And you can transform old school hardware into legit mining hardware. Pretty awesome. Pretty darn awesome. So Lance also says you need to have a good BIOS. I agree with you. You have to have a good BIOS. There are certain specific hardware limitations with chipset, though. So, for example, I have, as my workstation, I've got the H270 chipset. And come hell or high water, you can try to force 6 cards onto this board. It won't see them. I don't care what BIOS you flash to it, it's not going to see it. The H270 chipset just causes problems. Whereas, again, the H110 chipset, awesome. And then with a good BIOS, you don't even need to configure anything, right? You just throw 13 GPU risers onto it, and it mines. So pretty amazing. Well, you know, Lance, that does make sense that you might need the X299 for RAID, but I believe that it's necessary specifically for M.2 bifurcation. So that would be a necessary component to then see each one of those X4 component lanes, right? So dividing 16 PCI Express lanes into 4, so they each have 4 lanes of bandwidth. I believe that's why you need the X299 chipset. So related to that, you need to create 4 distinct X4 lanes to be able to get really good RAID off of it. And for the purposes of the Acorn, you need all 4 lanes to get full mining power, right? Full mining acceleration. So the Acorn Nest X2G, again, guys, I've said it like 15 times here. Top pick, primo hardware. David, bravo, because this is amazing. This is great. You're breathing new life into old hardware. You're helping the GPU miner, the small to mid-sized GPU miner, live their purpose in getting all this stuff. So this is just amazing, and absolutely a show of strong advocacy for the community by offering hardware like this that is so much more valuable than just saying like, hey, just buy a bunch of these Acorns, and how are you going to attach them to your motherboards? I don't know. Just buy them. So bravo, sir. You, sir, you win. You win the golden cookie for the day, because that's a thing, right? Golden cookie, that could be a thing, or whatever. So, guys, thank you so much for joining the live stream. I noticed that we've got quite a few people on the live stream today. I hope that earlier today you went to go see Jeremy live, JMS live, and yeah. Then supporting the team, family, right? One team, one dream. So that's on Squirrel's Research. That's the good news. The bad news is, if you go back to the main menu, we're going to see, hey, you loaded up. Good. Go back to the main menu, check out here for the products. The 101, sold out. 215, sold out. 215 Plus, yeah, it's sold out. So we go back over to, thank you, Hero Y. That is a good thing. Space Cookie. We're going to got to make a new coin for that. Space Cookie coin. Drago, welcome. And Minority, 198 left in stock. Let's refresh the page and see what happens, because that was from about an hour ago. So refreshing the page, 251 left in stock. That is for the 215. Click over to the 215 Plus. 177 left in stock over there. Clay Chawler, this is store.minority.io, and these are available here now. They will be delivered to you. This is not for hosting with Minority. This is a product sale through store.minority.io. So to kind of show you what that looks like, let's pre-order some, shall we? Some 215 Pluses. I'm going to hit the pre-order button, show you that this works right now. So I've loaded up 51 into my basket. Can you beat me in buying them? That's my evil laugh. Does that work? Does it need to be more evil? More evil? More evil. Okay. All right, because on the Squirrel's Research website, you can only pre-order 16 at a time per purchase. But on Minority, it's no holds barred. Lucha Libre. So throw on your leather mask and run over that Lucha Libre mask. Don't make it weird. Don't throw on weird leather masks. I hate weird leather masks. And so do you. All right. So that's minority.io, store.minority.io. You can find the Acorn there. But guys, there are not that many left. Literally, if every person in this live stream went out and got 3, they would run out. So if you're going to do this, do it fast. All right, so what we did in the other live stream, you're going to be able to find this over on bit.tube/mindyourbiz. And not mind your business, because it's... Crypto Pope brings up a really good point before I move on. Shipping could get to you right here. Let's do the math on this, though, okay, Crypto Pope? So I'm going to pop open a calculator really fast, and we're going to have some transparency to this math. So there are 50 units, so let me go 877.20 in price. Let's divide that by 51 units. I'm sorry, that's $17 flat rate shipping for a device that big. You're right, it's probably overpaying, but it's not overpaying to the extent that it's like, I don't know, say $170 flat rate. So I know right now the Squirrel's Research team, they've gotten a lot of flack because certain countries, certain territories, the flat rate shipping that they've quoted is a lot. A lot. I know, for example, that Newbie out in Norway kind of got hit pretty hard. But David over at Squirrel's Research has publicly stated and publicly committed to help settle up after orders start to be fulfilled, or after they get the pre-orders done. I'm sorry. So, Terry B, 130, I'm sorry, brother. Go on to Discord, guys. Find the Squirrel's Research team. Talk to David, GPU Hoarder, and just say, my shipping seems a little out of range, kind of outside of my expectation. And they will definitely talk to you about it, right? And they've made some public statements regarding it. I don't want to put words in their mouth or steal their thunder. So I've got a question from Jim C about, can you run more than one of these per computer? Yes, Jim, you can. You can, especially if you are right here. They've got some products called the Nest X4 and the Nest Nest X2G, you can run several of them using those host devices that just plug into PCI Express. So that makes it easier to host more than one per machine. But if you had just a bunch of M.2 slots that were a physical 4 lanes of PCI Express, you could just use those slots that already exist in your computer to have more than one in your device. So that answers that. Guys, what we did over on bit.tube/mindyourbiz, also it's not mind your business or mind your biz, it's mine, like you're mining, your biz. And over there, we did a quick run through of how FPGAs, like the Acorn, could easily overtake proposed solutions for ASIC-resistant algorithms like random.js and render them easily overcome. Now, what I mean is, and I don't mean to make it sound trivial, right? You're going to have to watch the video to get the full explanation. But we talked about, and I had a few developers in the audience who were very kindly gave some feedback. And we did some back and forth as we went through this GitHub repo. And we talked about the reality, the real possibility of an ASIC being made for certain algorithms like this one. And, well, spoiler alert, we thought it might be possible, but I'm not going to tell you how. I want you to go check out that video so you can see how. Because it's a really cool algorithm. And the Loki team, when they gave me an exclusive interview on the Seth Estrada channel here on YouTube, they talked about the earlier version of this. There we go. Let me show that for you, Welsh Minty. Talked about the earlier version of this called RandProg. They were considering it before as an ASIC-resistant proof of work algorithm. It's tough, guys. This is tough stuff. I don't pretend to know a lot about algorithms and cryptography. I try not to speak outside of my expertise. And this stuff is really tough to figure out how to get ahead of what hardware can do. So we looked at this, and I think you're going to like the discussion that we had. So definitely check that out over on BitTube. We jumped into a couple of different GitHub repositories, the place where they keep all their code for people to look at. And we looked at their code and looked at their README files and looked at the scope of how this algorithm is supposed to work. And we discussed it. So, Kevin, you asked about the Nest. So on squirrelsresearch.com, go to products, and on the drop down, you'll see Acorn Nest X4 and Acorn Nest X2G. This is a Squirrels Research exclusive, I believe. I don't believe that Minority is pre-selling these. This might only be Squirrels Research. And thank you again, David, GPU Hoarder Stanfill, for developing an additional host device for this for the Acorn. Super awesome. And yeah, guys, Acorns, grab your nuts, quick, because they're going fast. All right. So Narcissus, JavaScript engine, this is all related to some of these GitHub repositories that we had from before. But let's get on to the news of the day. FPGAs listed. FPGAs for pre-order now. It's going to be a wild ride. We don't know exactly what the total network hash rate is going to do as these FPGAs ship. You know, it's going to be a wild ride. They help with certain algorithms right now, Dagger Hashimoto or, ETH hash. They help with Kryptonite V1 or, the Monero. And that's just for the 101 version. And then the 215 and the 215 Plus also help with Lyra 2, Rev 2, and then X16R. Asier, hello. Bienvenido desde Barcelona. So you have some serious performance boost on up to 4 algorithms. And it's going to be a wild ride. But Coinbase made the announcement they're going to add 5 new coins. I don't know if you saw the post from Fluffy Pony on Twitter. The Magical Crypto friends they're not too happy about this because I think they were really hoping that Monero would be on the lineup. But let's talk about a couple of these tokens, a couple of these coins. So Kevin, you're asking about, so we're going to be on the Acorn for a while, and that's okay, guys. That's okay. So on the Acorn, yes, with one of those host devices, the Nest, the X4 specifically, yes, you can run 3 Acorns on one motherboard and then plug in 12 GPUs if your motherboard supports that. So, such as the H110 back here that I've got a couple as test benches here, but the ASRock H110 BTC Pro Plus, as it has 13 slots, one of them is full length. Yes, you could hypothetically put the full length Nest card in there, and then for the other 12 lanes, you could put in GPU risers. So pretty darn cool. Hey, Hash Slinging Slasher, I love your face too. Thanks for coming out to support the live stream. So Ravencoin, Ravencoin SBZ, that could be a token. Ravencoin SBZ. You should make a new coin called Ravencoin SBZ. That would be awesome. A meme coin. So no, Acorn is not a scam. It is not a scam, and it is backed by people who I have come to trust implicitly. I'll just say that based on the conversations and the interviews that I've had with these individuals, no, my trust for them has only grown, right? Same with the Loki team, right? I started with some skepticism. My trust for them has only grown. And I won't say that about every single project that I interview, or every single person that I interview. I don't like to speak poorly of people that I interview, so I'm not going to name names and try to down talk anybody. But I will say that for David, I trust him. And for Christy, I trust her. So yeah, no, the Acorn, awesome. And I think you're perfectly safe to buy it. So it's up to you how many you want to get. Alrighty. So, right here with Coinbase, maybe I should be more cautious. Coinbase themselves are saying that they're exploring Cardano. They're exploring BAT. They're exploring Stellar Lumens. They're exploring Zcash and Ox. But what I wanted to get at is that there are some platforms that really promise to have a useful application. And Terry B. Hey, thank you also for calling out SafeCoin, because absolutely, Jeff Galloway from SafeCoin was very generous with his time. He went into our Discord and answered questions directly to the Mind Your Biz Discord server, where we have conversations. This is kind of a new thing. I haven't had. I think that Agent Smith, Dan from Zelcash, also answered a few questions there as well. But man, Jeff really went out of his way, and he answered a lot of questions, even some questions that were a little bit rude. We kind of have a gentleman's agreement in the Discord server that we're not rude to each other and that we don't speak poorly. But yeah, did an awesome job. And Corey, thank you for chiming in. Absolutely. Due diligence is so important, guys. Do your own research. I bring these coin projects on because I want you to get a sense for what I can see when I talk to these individuals. And you can make your own, draw your own conclusions, right? As we ask questions together. And as I ask them some of the same basic questions about where their project started, what it's doing now, and kind of where it's headed. You know what I mean? What they hope the legacy is going to be. So thank you for doing additional research and making sure that you understand the market conditions that would give you your own personal indication, your own personal buying signal, or your own personal mining signal. Don't just take what I say at face value. Don't just take what they say at face value. I bring them onto the show so you've got more info, right? More rich info to draw from. But man, do your own research for sure. So Coinbase is talking about Cardano, Basic Attention Token, Stellar Lumens, Zcash, and Ox. Basic Attention Token in particular, for me, is... hey, Faded, you can never do too much of your own research. You just can't. All right. So Channing B, I will get back to that question in just a moment because I appreciate it. Because I do want to come back around. So we'll open and close this live stream with a discussion about the Acorn FPGA, because clearly it's making waves, right, guys? And gal, Lisa's still here, I think. At least one woman in the audience out of 100 people, literally one girl. Hopefully more. Maybe Heidi from Boost is here as well. That'd be awesome. But Coinbase has these different coin projects that they are evaluating. They really want to potentially onboard. And after the announcement of Ethereum Classic, I think, some people are interested. Eric, I'm gonna table that question till the end, but I'm gonna get to it. I promise. We will answer more questions about the FPGAs. So right here, looking at Cardano, looking at Basic Attention Token, looking at Stellar Lumen, Zcash, and then Aux. I know with Zcash, the major value proposition is ZK snarks and privacy, right? So that's the whole thing. ZK snarks, privacy. That's what it's intended to be. So hey, Matt, we've got Matt from the Technicals in the house. Thank you for joining us. And, Asier, I totally agree. That's what I'm excited about. Basic Attention Token, and as creators, Basic Attention Token, I think, should be on our radar because it will affect creators, probably most creators, audience members, anybody who consumes media where there are ads served. So right now on YouTube, as you know, certain videos can have ads, certain videos can't. And Basic Attention Token seeks to be the platform for exchanging value when it comes to ads, because it's all about getting people's attention and holding it. So yeah, we'll talk a little more about Acorn in just a minute, guys. We'll jump back over into the Acorn order form there. And Matt from the Technicals, to answer your question, did I grab one right away? No, I didn't. But I will have announcements regarding hardware soon enough. Don't you worry about that, sir. Don't you worry. So let's talk a little bit about some of these tokens, some of these coins that Coinbase wants to bring up. First off, give them all the claps, just the snaps and the claps. All right, Ethereum Classic. Yeah. Some people. No, Raven SBZ. There will be no Seth coin. Why is this happening? It's like a meme, guys. I mean, the only way that I would ever launch Seth coin is if I could fork Lupe coin. All right. So if we can fork Lupe coin, then yes, I will accept Seth coin. But then that means you'd also have to fork Seth coin to become Mad coin, right? Or Technicals coin or whatever. So there. That's all that's going to cover that. But talking about some of these different coins, Cardano, I mean, like they're saying, it's meant to be something. Yeah. It's I'm not even totally certain that I know what Cardano is supposed to achieve, right? Dad's gonna do it. He's gonna do it. He's gonna go use fork note. So yeah, Estrada coin does sound pretty good, actually. But then we can trade Estrada futures. Wait, that sounds like gambling my children's college fund, though. Doesn't sound right. Anyway, Basic Attention Token is the one that I'm kind of most interested in, just because, hey, when all you got is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. When all you got is video production every single day, then you think about ad revenue. You think about tokenizing rewards for viewership. You think about decentralized platforms and hosting systems and video streaming and video streaming systems and technology, right? IPFS and BitTorrent and we were talking about it in the other stream, RTMP, which is an aging technology, but there's nothing to replace it yet, right? And blockchain might not be the answer there, but you think about these kinds of technologies, and so Basic Attention Token kind of fits into that matrix, right, of technologies that may help with media production. And it's the internal token, like they say, of the Brave browser. If you haven't tried it, I've tried it. I found it less fun to use than Chrome. I'm just going to say maybe I'm a little bit too dependent on some of the plugins that I have for Chrome. I mean, certainly my Ether wallet, kind of a nice one to have, right? Yeah, my Ether wallet, I've got Ethereum address lookup and some other cool stuff that is very blockchain oriented. So it's helpful. And yeah, hey, despacito. Let's bring down the shill. Slow down there, Turbo. I think it's promising. I don't want to shill any one token. Any one token very strong here. What I am going to say is that Basic Attention Token, I think I'm interested in because it addresses some of the problems that I face as a creator. So, Roderick, you're asking about if anybody knows a Squirrel Miner has been released. I don't believe so yet. But Stellar Lumens also, I mean, they're yeah. So I mean, it's got a different governance model. So you can choose your own nodes, which is cool. But then it begs the question, like, why is this any different or better than something, an evolving ecosystem like EOS, right? Zcash, again, they brought privacy to the blockchain in a kind of a unique way. Some people are very, very critical of Zuko, one of their most visible team members, right? I can't be openly critical. I make jokes about him maybe not wanting to return my phone calls or be on the show. But as you guys know, he's got an open mic here. I'd be happy to interview Zuko. I'd be happy to interview anybody from the Zcash team, because they don't all necessarily agree on the future of proof of work. They don't all necessarily agree on allowing ASICs on their network or on being ASIC resistant, right? They've got some differences of opinion that I would love to explore openly on the show. And that'd be great. So anybody from Zcash or the Zcash Foundation, if you are watching, you're welcome here. You have an open mic here. You have a safe space on my show. Actually, when I say it that way, it's kind of like I'm inviting you into a windowless van, right, with candy or something. Sorry, guys. But seriously, Zcash, you're welcome. So that's interesting. And it does seem kind of like major exchanges. Zcash is, that kind of does make sense. But it begs the question, why not Monero, right? Why didn't Monero make this line up? What's the holdup? I think a lot of people are waiting for Monero to be traded on a larger exchange and on a system like Coinbase. And then with Ox, I mean, the utility there is clear, right? Being able to trade ERC20 tokens, it is, yeah, pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. But for miners, it's kind of like, what does this do? Don't really know. The others, however, basic attention token, more Zcash, right? This was pretty relevant to us earlier on. Cardano, mineable by the hobby miner. So this is exciting. We'll see what happens, right? We'll see where Coinbase goes with all of this. Hopefully, it is all good for miners, right? Because, yeah, it'd be great to have people who are looking at these different coins and then saying, where can I get me some, for example, some OTC ZEC? And then reach out to you as a miner and say, look, I want some OTC ZEC. Now you got some bargaining power because they can go pay fiat at Coinbase with a credit card registration or with their bank account, or they can slip you some Benjamins for all those ZEC you got lying around. All those ZEC lying around in the wallet. I know how you do, miner. I see you. So this is exciting, especially when there are mineable altcoins going onto exchanges like Coinbase. For Coinbase to accept really any ERC20 tokens that are mineable as well would be awesome, because that does help us. Alrighty, guys. Oh, what is this? Shock and awe. It is minority. Just going to go ahead and close that window up. That was a little bit of a shell. I'm not going to pretend. I'm more and more getting impressed by what minority is about. Is this an implicit endorsement of them? Not yet. not yet. Not publicly yet. But I'm really impressed with what they're doing and the community there. Alrighty, so Cart, like we talked about, the minority or store.minority.io, they have these, right? Oh yeah, hey Matt, here's the spoiler. I've got 51 acorns in my cart right now. Can you beat me to checkout? Kid's a total bluff. I'm not spending $17K on acorns today. That's just not happening. But apparently I could if I wanted to. That's nuts, right? Oh man. I just said nuts on a broadcast about acorns, not ironically. Shoot me. All right, back over to squirrelsresearch.com. Let's talk about some of the questions that you've had about Acorn. So Paul Stevens, thanks for chiming in the comments right now and saying that Squirrels Research has mentioned that Squirrel Miner has gone on record as saying that they will release the Squirrel Miner in late August with them nuts. So when those nuts hit the streets, watch out for the Squirrel Miner. That sounds like some kind of really weird euphemism. I don't even know what it means. Whatever. So looking back at some of the questions, guys, I'm going to make sure that we have some of these questions answered as best as I can. And some of it's going to be, of course, hearsay, because this stuff is, right? It's hot. So, dude, Matt, do it. Do it. Okay, nice. guys heard it. You guys read it here first. If Matt does not put those nuts in his mouth, acorns in his mouth, well, then we're going to have to embarrass him publicly somehow. I don't know how. You can't do that. I mean, it's not like we've got hundreds of people's of attention tuning into these videos. But anyway, I digress. That'll be an awesome thumbnail. Looking back, Kevin asks, so should I sell my 1060s yet? Shouldn't I sell my 1060s yet? No! Don't sell your 1060s. If you watched my video on GPU mining efficiency over on BitTube, you would understand why I said that. There's a reason. So check that out. It's over there as a BitTube exclusive. And then, and then if you're looking at the RX 580 for, because reasons, like maybe you checked out that video that's a BitTube exclusive, then you'd see, because reasons, don't sell them. If people are buying or people are selling, then, be aggressive, right? Chase, Art of War, Book of Five Rings, get in there, attack, and get them cheap. All right, so Neil, I'm going to jump back to a fresh question. Question on the Acorns, was it ever clarified how many GPUs their CLEs will support? Yes, it was. It absolutely was. Was clarified how many will support max. They will support 4 each. Now, it's on a sliding scale, and it is represented in a way that actually a lot of other YouTubers have not quite gotten right. And I went over it over on BitTube. That's being uploaded right now. I can check with you to see if that's uploaded. So while I get that open in another window, just refresh that to make sure that my upload is going. While that's going, I'm going to pull up the product pages here. So I'll pull up, jump straight to the top, okay? The 215. And even they're saying buy on minority because the pre-order will tell you the pre-orders are closed. But down here, there's a little bit of a scale, and thankfully they've got all of these side by side. So performance figures, you only need to go to one page and then click on the tab above to be able to navigate through. And you've got some figures here to the side. First off, it's worth mentioning the CLE 101 currently is only optimized for 2 algorithms, Dagger Hashimoto and Kryptonite V1, also known as Kryptonite V7. Oh, hey, look, I've got little notifications. Yay. Somebody subscribed. Thank you so much for being on board. And right here, you'll notice that it's about 10% across the board for AMD and NVIDIA. That's the reality for Dagger Hashimoto. For Kryptonite V1, about 33%. But as you know, AMD is already a better performer across the board for Kryptonite. And if you don't know, well, all you got to do is go to mineyour.biz. And on mineyour.biz, go up to mine GPU charts. And I apologize. Hey, Matt, while I got you here to hold me publicly accountable, I need to put Subscriber Pool, a direct link here from Pools on mineyour.biz. Guys, here's my public endorsement of Subscriber Pool. As you know, you can go to Subscriber Pool, got multiple coins to hash there. And if you want to credit me as a referral, you can put my name, just uppercase Seth, as your password in your miner. That way the pool operators know that I sent you there. And down the line, there may be a fee sharing program, possibly. So there's my disclosure. But that's not the case today. Today, it's just a really low fee, reliable pool run by people that Matt has personally vetted. I've had offline chats with Matt, and I absolutely trust him to run that correctly. So, Corey, the golden spreadsheet. Oh, so my moderator in Discord keeps telling me, Seth, you got to charge for this. This is valuable info. I mean, he's not wrong. This is the kind of info that I've charged clients in the past to tell, right, and to compile. Definitely more in depth, right? But I have charged consulting clients for this sort of info before. This one I run as a community service, guys, and I see that being the case for the foreseeable future. The way it is right now, it's too important to the community of small to mid-sized miners to change the way it's run right now. So if you go to the data tab, you can change out your numbers right there, and then it shows you how things work. And then go to the dollar per hash. It gives you your bang for the buck, you could say. So how many dollars you would need to spend in order to get 1 hash or 1 mega hash or 1 kilohash, whatever the unit is there of that particular algorithm. And then over here on efficiency per watt tells you how many hashes you would get for 1 watt. Now, if you've ever used some of the Equihash miners, they will often break it down to souls per joule. You can also just say hashes per watt. This breaks that down for you. You can check that out there. If you really feel like I was going to say forking it, you can copy it over to your Google Drive if you want to, or you can just leave it here. And guess what? The community does all the work. We all change out our numbers and we help each other, and it gets better that way. I recommend we just leave it a community worksheet together. That's what I think. So yeah, that's what I think, guys. Let's work on this together. Sharing is caring. But I digress. You would know if you use this spreadsheet that the most efficient per watt is almost always Team Red for Kryptonite and Kryptonite V7. I'm going to do a quick sort right here, and I'm going to go A to Z, and you can see right there, Team Red is at the very top. The ones that are towards the bottom are the R9s. The only reason they're not at the top is because they tend to consume a lot of power. So they still hash fairly high, but they consume a lot of power. So you'd have to use them in areas where you got low cost per kilowatt hour. Anyway, I digress. Going back here. What's this? What's this? Oh, it looks like it could be Acorn FPGA video on BitTube. Yes, it is. That's exactly what it is. So, if you haven't already watched it, I don't want to give away the ending. There's a ton of good info in here. It's a little more technical, though, guys, because I look at a GitHub repository with some programmers in the comments, and we talk nerd talk. So it's really nerdy. It's really, really nerdy. But let's answer questions about the Acorn. So back over here to the cart, you see they're still available at Minority, store.minority.io. But right here, the CLE 101, only good for two algorithms, Ethereum or Ethash, and then Kryptonite or Monero. Hey, Eric, hang on to those R9 290s. They are very powerful. And I have it on good authority that they are accelerated by the Acorn. I read that today from a member of Squirrel's Research. So don't give up hope if you got your R9s, or if you have a HD 7900 series cards from AMD, kind of older cards. Now, do they work with GTX 900 series cards? I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. So we should ask, somebody should ask David, GPU Hoarder, in Discord if that's the case. But I know that older AMD cards are accelerated by the Acorn. So worth hanging on to if you got them. But right here, going over the lineup, the 101 is sort of, it's the entry-level product, right? $200 helps you get, $200. Guys, this is like a refrain. Loki on subscriber pool. You know what? I'm with you. I interviewed the Loki team, and I think they are with it, right? They've got their stuff together. They have some direction. They've got drive, and I really like their team. They've done really well. I haven't gotten a bounty. If you saw my interview with them Monday, Mystery Mining Mondays with JMS and Christy and me, he was joking, right? He was joking with me offline on Telegram and said, Seth, I'm going to send you one Loki. So now you can't say that you haven't gotten a bounty. And I'm like, no, don't do it. It taints everything I say with or about you guys ever again. Mercifully, Loki hasn't given me any bounty yet, so I can still talk good about them without shilling. But I agree with you. I think that Loki should be on the subscriber pool, but I think BitTube should be on the subscriber pool too. I think there should be several cryptonotes that are on the subscriber pool, like Sethcoin, for example. Has that been made yet? Has anyone forked note yet to make Sethcoin and give me a graphic that makes me look like Lupe? Get on that, folks. Jeez, what are you good for? Jeez. So back to the Acorn. The 101, a little bit limited. Down here, standalone. What's this? So this is the 215 Plus. That's what it is. That's what the standalone is. We'll talk about that in a minute. The 215 opens up more algorithms, and it pops up the performance of those algorithms from 0 to nothing to something, right? So you can take the mining profitability calculator, guys, and if we wanted to, we could grab some entries that are acorned, right? Acorned on there. Gimli going to the moon. Yes, Eric, we could totally do that. Put my brother's face on it, right? So it'd be Estrada coin, Gimli coin. But right here, the 215 adds 2 more algos, Lyra 2 Rev 2, X16R. And you can see the performance increase for the mining right here. See hash rate on that legend, and then the power usage of that. The power usage of the Acorn. Now, in the interview, I almost said Acorn. Got to talk like a squirrel now. Look what you guys have done to me. David, GPU hoarder. They're in my head. So, Clay, you're asking how many Acorns can you run at once? I don't know that there's a limit other than the limit of PCI Express lanes on your system. So if you had a system that supported, I'll just use a really poor example, but supported exactly 40 lanes of PCI Express, I want to say you could run 10 Acorns, if that makes sense, because they each need 4 lanes. So if you had one that had 400 lanes, just to use a bad example to keep math easy, then you could run 100 of these Acorns. That's how I understand it right now. If you guys know better, or if you've talked to David and he's clarified, say so in the comments. So right here, the second column right there under each algorithm is for the power usage, and it gives you a plus percentage, right? And I think that in the interview, he mentioned it's baseline of around 35 watts per Acorn. So I don't know if that means 22% above baseline, like 22% above 35 watts, or if it's 22% above system baseline. So I'm sorry I don't have any numbers for you there. That's a bummer. Maybe we can get David to clarify. Maybe he can help me update my community spreadsheet. Maybe we can make something better that's on Mind Your Biz and is sponsored by Squirrels Research by helping us get a better data set there just for these FPGAs. You guys tell me, and definitely ask David, help mindyour.biz get an objective data set so it's away from the vendor, right? Guys, we need objective, unbiased looks at this stuff. So I'd love to get the data set from him and host that separately on mindyour.biz so that we have an objective way of looking at all of it. So all right, Bernard is asking 215 plus per 1080 Ti. Yeah, we'll talk about that for sure. So the same is true actually of the 215 right here. So you see right here the percentage. This percentage or Acorn usage, that means how much headroom is left or how much of the actual hashing performance or hashing acceleration performance of the Acorn itself is necessary to accelerate that one card. Right? So here with the 215, you can see there are a couple of models. Let me find a really good example here. On Lyra 2 Rev 2, it really takes a lot of the Acorn to accelerate most of the cards. But here on X16R, it's only 33% utilization. So you could use one Acorn to accelerate up to 3 1050 Ti's if it's the 215 model, right? That makes sense because it's 33% utilization. So 100 divided by 33, about 3, right? No more than 3. So if that makes sense, then with a 1060, one of these 215 Acorns would do about 2 1060s because it's 48%, right? 48 doesn't go into 100 more than twice. So just 2. But then with the 1070, it seems like maybe you'll get a partial boost on a second card. You won't get full performance boost on 2 cards, but you might get about 2 cards because it's not like 70%. 1070 Ti, 76%, 1080 same. 1080 Ti, it maxes out, right? It maxes out. But then looking at the RX 550, dang, only 16% utilization. So you can accelerate quite a few of these, right? Quite a few indeed. So you can accelerate about like 6 or so, maybe 7, depending on how that works. So RX 560, about 3, and the 570, about 2. The Vegas, any of the Vegas, it's totally maxed out. So Eric, you're asking, is X16R Raven Coin? It is today. It's also Redden Coin, which is available on Subscriber Pool. So you can mine, and then some others as well. There's some other X16R coins that are out there that you can mine, several of them available on Subscriber Pool. Shameless plug, but the dev fees are low, 0.5%. And down the line, possibly, they'll do a little bit of dev fee sharing with YouTube creators. If they don't, that's fine. If they do, whatever. It's not going to be huge, but it's low fees for you guys. And I really agree with what Matt's doing over there by wrangling some developers that he knows and that he can work with in person. So you can check it out there. But X16R is acceleratable. Is that a word? I don't know. Made it up. But you max out when you get with the Vega cards. So Kevin, you're asking 12 1060s equals 4 Acorns. No. 12 1060s equals 6 Acorns. if it's the 215. So to correct the math there, because it's only two 1060s per Acorn. Yeah. So that's the reality there. So Neil is saying that interesting maths, the additional performance versus additional cards, and on a lot of cards isn't worth it. Well, I kind of agree with that, but I'm a little biased, right? I mean, what's this? It's the infamous, right? And people keep asking me like, what is it, Seth? I can't find it. Where is this mystery dual GPU card? Well, stay tuned. Stay tuned, because you're going to be hearing and seeing a lot more of it in the near future, or a variant of it. Is that subtle enough? So I agree, Neil. In some cases, the Acorn isn't the perfect fit, but in many cases, it is. And especially when you're looking at cards that underperform on certain algorithms. The video that I did before, I think, no, it was in the live stream, it wasn't in the video. Sorry, guys. But we talked about specific numbers, specific algos, and specific coins that became front runners when you add an Acorn. And it's pretty impressive. What David has done is pretty darn cool. It's pretty darn cool. So if you have something like for example, let's just use one poor example, right? So with X16R, you're going to notice the hash rate performance boost. Go down the list here, and let's see where there's the highest performance boost. It looks like with the RX 580. Now, if you watch the video that I did, it's a BitTube exclusive, so you're going to have to go back over to BitTube to see it. Okay, but right here, the BitTube exclusive GPU mining efficiency update. Check it out. Check it out, and you're going to see why I'm excited about this, why I'm excited about Acorn. But you're going to see extreme performance boost on certain algorithms. Granted, it uses up a lot of the available bandwidth of that Acorn in order to achieve that performance, but who cares, right? We're trying to redline here. We're trying to run these things till the wheels fall off. So we want it to get as close to 100% utilization as possible, whether that means throwing it at a Vega card or throwing 3 1050 Ti's at each Acorn, if that makes sense. You want to max out all the available system resource. Let's go over to the 215 Plus. Right here, the 215 Plus, there are a couple of notable bumps in performance, but not huge. And you'll notice right here on Lyra 2 Rev 2, it's double the performance on the 1060, double the performance on the 1050 Ti. And also greater capacity to load it up with 1050 Ti's. Here's where you get 4 cards for each Acorn, is when you're using a 1050 Ti on the 215 Plus. And guys, that's the secret sauce, basically, is that you're getting similar performance increase to the 215, right? On the 1060 right there, you'll notice that the Lyra 2 Rev 2 performance, it goes up a little bit, up to 2.16. Corey, we are friends. We're friends, Corey. But friends don't let friends perform industrial sabotage. So there's some things that I actually can't talk about, guys. We literally can't talk about it yet. So yeah. So Neil, you bring up a really great point. When you talk about a bunch of different factors, that's why, and people ask me about this. Hey, so this is a value-added piece of kit over here, like a spreadsheet like this? Yes, but it's literally only one piece of the equation, guys. You need data flows that are multiple pages long, and you have to start using pivot table reports, and you have to start really getting into the details of like, does this addition to my hardware setup, does it make sense, right? So tangle with the data, right? Make sure it makes sense to you. Again, do your own research. And these calculations are only barely a starting point. They're just the beginning. So Neil, I appreciate you bringing that up. You do have to factor it all in. But again, look at the BitTube exclusive GPU mining efficiency update. You will not regret it. And be sure you subscribe over on BitTube. Make sure that you are supporting BitTube creators as well. A lot of us are into crypto, so it definitely helps. Let's shut that down because, frankly, Coinbase has to earn our trust by actually launching something, right? Where's Ethereum Classic? Roadmap still, right? These could be 2019 before that actually happens. So we'll see. We'll see what actually happens there. But the 215 Plus helps you increase the capacity of certain cards, right? So you look at the 1060, And now you can potentially add up to 3 1060s or accelerate up to almost 3 1060s on a single Acorn, right? If it's the 215 plus. And yeah, so Vorn, you got the right idea also. Definitely you can ask as well. But if you only ask them to give you numbers, you are now asking the vendor directly, right? Trust me, slaps top of Acorn. This baby can do 15 cards. That is totally not David's way, by the way. I'm just saying you want to go with objective third-party reviewers. You want to see this stuff as soon as it hit the streets, and you want to see everybody review it, right? Vosk needs to review it. Carter needs to review it. Rory needs to review it. Son of a Tech needs to review it. Everybody. Kev needs to review it. Everybody needs to review it, right? So trust me, you want to see the real world numbers. But based on what this says so far, it looks like... So, Eric, you bring up a really good question. This is a really great question. ASRock Ultra Quad. Let me look up the ASRock Ultra, because I think we looked at the Asus before. But the ASRock Ultra Quad M2 card. I'm going to do a live search right here. May well come up on... It's going to come up on Newegg. So let's take a look at this really fast. This looks like it is sub-licensed from Asus. As you... Oh, hey... But the board design looks a lot like the... Yeah, it does look a lot like the X4, the Nest X4. But Lance is saying that it's not compatible with all motherboards. That's probably true, right? Different chipsets interact differently with different hardware. So that's an interesting option right there. The price is interesting, but I would definitely... Yeah, I don't know. Well, first off, the state of California knows it gives you cancer in California. It doesn't give you cancer in Wyoming, but definitely in California. Just warning. They told you. You've been warned. But there may be some additional components that you need to be aware of. So some additional considerations like chipset compatibility, right? I mean, we don't deal with this nearly as much in... we don't deal with this nearly as much with in the age of Windows 10 and of Ubuntu 16.04 LTS, right? Like, it's not as bad as it was way back in like the Windows XP days or whatever, and early Linux days. So yeah, Justin, thank you for the clarification there as well. In requiring bifurcation, and that may well have to do with a controller that's on board, guys. So again, chipset compatibility is everything. You can get something that looks like it has the right connectors, plug it into a board, and it just sits there. Does nothing, right? So price looks right until you get it and it doesn't work. And then that price is way too much. All right, so thank you for calling that out, though. It's nice to know there's some other hardware options, at least for potentially trying it out. You could, but that's something you're going to do at your risk. I would definitely recommend you take a closer look at what Squirrel's research has already worked on, because they're guaranteeing that it's going to work with their product. And again, the X2G, I think, is awesome because it has those additional USB leads to do USB PCI Express risers. So it's kind of like a mining board in a box, right? Get older commodity hardware and you've got 4 cards hashing. You want it, I mean, we could probably even try to find a bundle, right? Where you get 4 1050 Ti's and some risers cheap, some U-bit risers cheap to go with that. And then you can throw it into any old motherboard and you can start mining on any old motherboard. Go to a surplus sale somewhere at the local university, pick up an entire system for like $50, right? CPU, RAM, everything you need, and then throw HiveOS on it for free. I'm pretty sure we're going to see some pretty cool, cheap builds come out of that X2G. So I can't say it enough. David, if you're watching, thank you. So right here, the 215 Plus, it just has greater capacity, it looks like. So to accelerate more cards, and it's less about the total acceleration per card. So, but there is an improvement on some algos with some cards. 1070 gets a little bump on Lyra 2 Rev 2, going from the 215 to the 215 Plus. Let's take a look at X16R, though, on that same card. Nope, same. Looks like X16R doesn't really get a performance boost from either one. It's just Lyra 2 Rev 2, but it's more about, total system bandwidth, right? How many additional graphics cards can you accelerate? Ooh, Eric, you're asking about the R7 series. So R7 series AMD GPUs. I don't know. I know that the HD 7900 series appear to be supported because there is some data on the 7970. And if the 7970 is supported, I imagine the 7990 is supported, if you can even find those. And then the R9 series, I want to say, is supported as well. The R9 280X is essentially the same generation as the 7900 series. So it's kind of weird. It's not like a true R9. It's kind of the redheaded stepchild, but it still works really well. And I believe that they all have some support for acceleration. They just don't have published data here. So Victor, that's a really good question. As far as the electricity numbers and the power usage, I don't really know. I mentioned that before. So as far as what that actually means, I don't know what it's a percentage of. I don't know if it's a percentage over the baseline consumption of the Acorn itself, which I believe David mentioned 35 watts as a number that the Acorn can consume during our interview. But I would take that to be probably the maximum. I mean, for that size device and based on the size heatsink and fan that it sports, for it to do anything more than 35 watts and trying to cool that off, that doesn't seem to be the right solution. So I don't know if maybe that's the percentage above 35 watts, or if it's the total system usage, the percentage above total GPU utilization, but that can't quite be right either. Or maybe that's the total percentage of the 35 watts. I mean, that might also stand to reason. In the same way that right here, 26% utilization corresponding to 23% power. Maybe, or 26% acceleration capability versus 23% power usage. Guys, does that seem like it fits maybe? Does that make sense? I don't think that it could, because over here on the RX 550, you got 12% Acorn usage and 50% power on X16R. So I don't really know. And I'm hoping we get clarification from the Squirrels research team on that. So I don't really know. So Neil, you're asking, isn't one of the fundamental point of FPGAs is that they're highly adaptable? So could we see even further improvements and possible support of future gen cards? I think so. Yeah, I think so. In the same way that Time Travel 10, X16S, and Phi 2 are on a roadmap over here, they say coming soon, and then support down here for Threadripper 1950X, which is pretty exciting if you're into workstation use and video production like I am. You can get a workstation class CPU that's really good at rendering video, and you can have it pull double duty as a mining device and increase the hash rate so that you kind of make up for the lost time while you're producing video. That's pretty cool in my mind. And then as a standalone down here, guys, it says it's the CLE 215 Plus. And we can look forward to Ketchak, Ox Token. Hey, Ox. Remember Ox over on Coinbase? SHA-3, and then Tribus, among others that they're going to announce. But this is clearly what they're intently focused on right now, are these. So, Mossy, you're saying it appears to be a power difference from what you do now compared to adding an Acorn. That may well be the case. I mean, based on the 550 is a fairly low power card. And I really appreciate you suggesting that in the comments here. The 550 is a fairly low power card. So to say that it only adds 50% of what the 550 consumes, that tracks. Yeah, that makes sense to me in my mind. And then versus the Vega 64, only 7%. That's a very power hungry card. That tracks, maybe mentally. I can get on board with that, but I'm not sure, right? I'm not totally sure. Let's do some quick math here, because I thought that I heard David say 35 watts as the as max for the Acorn. So I'm going to pop back open a calculator, and I'm really unhappy with how big the calculator is in Windows 10 right now. It felt like it was overall smaller before. It was just the default, or the way it scales had little extras on it. Of course, it works exactly the way I need it to when I complain about it. That's what I get for complaining. I try not to complain mostly in life. And when I do, it's like the universe is like, oh, Seth, I'll show you. So calculator right here with the Vega 64, we can get top power utilization. Let's go over to the data tab here on mineyour.biz / optimized mining efficiency. We'll go down to the Vega 64. We're looking at total power usage of maybe upwards of 250 watts, right? If you're really, really pushing it. and pop open the calculator again. We've got 250 watts in the calculator, and let's multiply that by 7%, shall we? About 17.5 watts. Seems like it's within range of what David mentioned, right? So it's less than 35 watts. So that story tracks. Maybe it does work. And let's take a look at another one like the RX 550, where it says it's 50% of that power usage. Because again, that's weird, right? So over here, RX 550, and we're looking at, again, I don't recommend you ever look at a 550 that's 2 gigabyte, look at only 4 gigabyte, or, well, there isn't a larger model today, but look at the 4 gigabyte. We're looking at about 65 watts on the high end, right? And 65 watts times 50%, about 32 watts. It's within range. It's within range. The one issue there, though, is that it says that you can accelerate multiples. Because if what David said was true, even if what he said was not a finished spec, how can we do 6 of those cards at that power consumption, right? I mean, at 32.5 watts times 6, that Acorn would literally melt your motherboard. Like you would have an electrical fire inside of your mining rig. So that can't be right. It can't scale with the number of cards that you're accelerating. Yeah, I'm a little confused as to what that power usage number actually means. I really am. So Channing B, you're asking about a 6 by 1070 Ti rig would need a Nest and 2 of the 215 pluses for good acceleration of all the cards. Just to make sure that I fully understand, right here I see the 1070 Ti. I see it accelerating on Lyra 2 Rev 2. It's going to require, if you want to really accelerate Lyra 2 Rev 2, you're not going to get the full boost capability of all 6 of those cards with just 1 or even just 2 of the Acorns. You would need to have 1 per card, is what I'm reading here, but that's true for almost any of the cards. They're 90% plus on Lyra 2 Rev 2. Apparently, it really taxes the Acorn. Either that, or it just kind of works globally. Again, I don't think that works. But yeah, BDF, you're right. Stats are 1 Acorn to 1 GPU only. So on Lyra 2 Rev 2, you're maxing out its performance capability by pairing it with just 1 GPU. And over here on X16R, for the 1070 Ti, to use the example that Channing B asked about, it's 61% utilization. So either it's less efficient acceleration of 2 of those GPUs per Acorn. I doubt that it's all or nothing. I imagine that the way these things work is that you're going to get less efficiency if you go above what it's rated for. So if you use a 61% of the Acorn to accelerate a 1070 Ti, I imagine that sure you could accelerate 2 1070 Ti's, but it won't be nearly to the figures that you see here. That's just my guess. And so to accelerate 6 of those 1070 Ti's, you would need a minimum of 3 Acorns. And if you wanted to get full speed, like you see here, it looks like you're going to need 4 Acorns. I think that's how I'm reading this. Yeah, I think I am. I think that's what's going on here. Guys, does that make sense to you? If that makes sense, hit that like button. Thank you. So Lance is saying also, he believes it's only 15 watts per Acorn. That makes sense to me, guys. These are not ultra high power parts. I mean, yeah, they're fairly high performance, but they can't be ultra high power because they're entirely bus powered too, right? Like, so with 4 lanes of PCI Express, like on a 16X PCI Express slot, you can draw about 75 watts, right? About 75 watts. Yes, Kevin, that is a lot of nuts. It takes a lot of nuts to accelerate them GPUs, which is what we do. So 16 lanes of PCI Express, you can draw about 75 watts of power. That doesn't seem quite right. You can do a little more, right? So yeah, about 75 watts on that slot. But 4X, I mean, even though you've 4X, I don't know if you can reliably pull that full 75 watts, right, Ken? I mean, I don't know as far as doing that. So I mean, I think it would only be 25% of that available power there. So again, just so spoiled. 75 watts times 1/4. I don't know. I mean, what can be supported directly from PCI Express or for that N.2 slot? Can you draw more than 18 watts, more than 20 watts? I don't know. Let's take a look really briefly at the design itself. I don't think that I see any leads coming off of it. It looks as though the fan, it appears as though it attaches directly to that PCB. So I imagine that all the power is drawn from the bus right there. Let's take a look at this in a new tab. Maybe we can get an expanded no, not much of an expanded view. Yeah, I don't think this is going to tell us a whole lot more about the build quality, guys. I apologize. You know, Eric, I think you're right. I think I totally missed that. So Mohammed is asking me if I've ever heard of pill for Vegas. Yes, I've heard of many pills that come out of Vegas. Would I take any of them? No, I would never take pills that I just got handed to me from Vegas. Guys, I kid. I know what he's really talking about. Okay, so BCU 1525s have a new pre-order open. Taylor's asking, that is definitely a question for Squirrel's Research or for FPGA Land, where you can get them as well. So let's take a quick look there at FPGA Land. While we're talking about FPGAs, guys, FPGA Land is where the initial pre-sale happened, and there's a link here as well because the last pre-sale resulted in a sellout. And Minority, there you go. So they've got FPGA hosting available there. Let's go to store.minority.io and see if that's available. It could. Yeah, it looks like right there. Out of stock as well on minority.io, guys. I apologize. Bummer. If you're not on that order list, you're not getting your BCU 1525 when they ship. Sorry. So, all right. Christy says you should complain to AMD if you want the Vega pill. Yes, you should. You should complain to AMD and say, we want the Vega pill. Ask Christy to make a Vega pill for us. So, yep, you are correct. It is M.2 slot for the Acorn. And so you will need to get an adapter if you want more than one. And the good news is we talked about it before. They make such an adapter right here on squirrelsresearch.com. You go to the products drop down and you can see the Nest X4 and the Nest X2G. Pretty darn cool. Ken, you're saying the M.2 spec limits the bus power to 7 watts. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you getting that spec for us. So 7 watts to the M.2 bus. However, it is possible, just based on that fan alone that's running on there, that fan has got to be, I don't know, it could be about a watt running there if it's a higher airflow fan running to that. Well, Justin A is warning that Bitware is releasing a device that's similar to the BCU 1525 soon. Well, look forward to it. And if you want to get them to reach out to me, I'd love to talk to them publicly about what their plans are. So let's see what that's all about, guys. By all means, have them hit me up in Discord. You know, I'm very responsive there. If you reach out to me personally and say, hey, Seth, I need you to Google something for me, I might say no. I'm sorry, but I might not Google something for you if that's what you asked me to do. And if you reach out to me and say, hey, Seth, please donate ETH, I ain't giving away ETH. There's the memo. You've been told. So I apologize for that too, guys. I wish I could, but I just can't. My kids have asked me not to give money to strangers. All right, so I guess we're gonna have to see, guys. That's hearsay at this point. We're gonna have to see if and when Bitware makes the complete announcement and what that actually means. So Channing B is asking again, on a 6x 1070 Ti rig, 4x 325 for the 215 pluses, plus 2x $100 for nests, is $1,500 to double my hash rate on Lyra 2 Rev 2. Less than that on X16R and a lot less on that than on ETH hash. So guys, here's the visual aid again. Sorry, Corey. I'm sorry in advance. Kevin, I'm sorry in advance. You've seen Christy show something like this before. You've seen me show something like this before. There are all kinds of GPU mining enhancements that we can do in hardware, right? In terms of buying new gear, new hardware, there are all kinds of enhancements and all kinds of hardware that we can use to improve our edge as miners, right? So FPGAs are one part of it, but here's the thing. You know what, Roderick? Let me make a sub channel on the Discord server, and we'll just capture everything, and we'll just submit it as like a bulk complaint, right? Like AMD, we want ETH largement for Vega, right? So maybe we can get that going. But guys, get back to my lecture. Children, round up. It's kind of finger wagging, isn't it? But there are so many different ways to improve performance. The FPGAs are awesome, and the Acorn is amazing. What it does is great, and they're going to unlock new functionality down the line. I am convinced that this is going to be the case. So, Crypto Pope, you're right also. It might not be the best option for everyone, but look at the performance charts. Again, this is why I say do your own research, and why I'm not just saying, like, go buy 15 of them. But what I will say is if you know you want 15 of them, don't dilly-dally, because on store.minority.io, they're running out just as fast as Squirrel's Research did this morning. Squirrel's Research sold out. So you can say that you don't want it, but don't engage in confirmation bias, guys, right? If you think it is the right choice for you, get it. If you know that it's not the right choice for you, like Channing did the math for his 1070 Ti rig, it's not the right choice for him, then don't get it. Kevin, you're asking about, are those dual cards pre-order yet? And they are not pre-order yet, but you can go to store.mineyour.biz. Let me open that up really fast, guys, or shop.mineyour.biz, so you guys can see shop.mineyour.biz, what this is all about, and that's all it is. Oh, sneak peek. I forgot I'm still logged in. It's I'm still logged in, so I can't show you unless I open up a there we go, an incognito tab here. Shop.mineyour.biz. And right here, what it's going to tell you is mineyour.biz now makes the world's most powerful production GPU mining rig. And what we're talking about is if you were to put my dual GPU cards into a riserless mining rig, which we're going to be debuting, I think, alongside the launch. If you were to put that at 8, 9, 12, or say 16 of those into one rig, then by all objective measures, it would have the most memory, the greatest number of hashing cores or of shader cores, which is what GPUs use, and the greatest total system bandwidth of any GPU mining rig released to date. So yeah, it's a bold claim, right? It's a bold claim, but I'm standing behind it, and I've done research, and I've been working on it for months, and I'm working really hard to make that to make it better every time. You've also seen Christy on a couple of live streams where she's brought up the dual P106 card that she's working on as well. Hers uses passive cooling, a passive heat sink, and it's NVIDIA based. So it's great for certain algorithms, maybe not as great as mine for others. So yeah, it's not direct competition, guys. Just like how AMD and NVIDIA can exist and make different kinds of cards. You can be a fan of the RX 580 from AMD and a fan of the GTX 1060 from NVIDIA. I know I am. They're both great cards, and they scale very well in mining operations. So anyway, thanks, Eric. Thanks. So anyway, you asked about pre-order for that, and no, we haven't released any pre-order info for it, but you can sign up for info there. No, there's not a GDPR disclaimer because I will contact you again. So this is the closest thing you're going to get to a GDPR disclaimer. If you're in a GDPR territory, well, guess what? I'm in the lower 48 of the United States of America. So I obey the CAN spam laws of this country that are 15 years old. They predate GDPR by a very large margin. I'm not in the business of spamming people, but if you sign up for info, I'm going to send you info. That's how that works. So if you want to know more, though, guys, that is the interest list right there for pre-order on the dual the dual GPU card. There we go. I'm going to show it off just for good measure one more time. Actually, let me get a nice good close-up of, oh, yes, take a look. Transistor count through the roof. All snaps. Mess with my green screen. My camera got excited. Yeah. All right. So HeroWise says for the 320 price tag, you can get an RX 580, which does 900 hashes per second for Kryptonite and 32 on Ethereum. Yeah, it's impressive. It's pretty impressive. And you hit the nail on the head, HeroWise. If you got a rig packed with GPUs and want more hash, this could be a compact solution. That's the idea, is that it does fit. And you guys have maybe seen my live stream where I talk about dual GPU monster cards, and I have them inside of a riserless system over there. So it fits what's called a 4U form factor. That means it just fits into the same size case as a typical computer does, right? It's no wider than a typical workstation computer or desktop gaming system. And it fits into a rack mount of only 4 units tall. So if you wanted to put hardware on it and you wanted to bolt it into a rack like that, a typical rack, you could, and it would take up only 4 units. So very, very compact, but very heavy hitting. And guys, that's on shop.mineyour.biz. All right, shill session over. That's not why I wanted to start this video. I'm really excited about that because I put a lot of work into it. I'm very proud of the work that I've done so far. So I can't wait to release a little more for you on that. But guys, Acorn, any questions left about Acorn? Guys, this has been great. Crypto, I hope you were right. I am leaning on BIOS way too much. Too many sleepless nights working on BIOS revisions for that dual GPU card. Like, it's my baby. I can't be objective about it anymore. But I can't sell it either because it's not a consumer product that I have there. So, right? I don't want to make it all weird. I'm going to try to be as transparent as possible about that, guys. When that does launch, I will directly benefit. My company will directly benefit. But until then, it's just an interest list. And this is just value-added info about other products that are launching. I don't get paid to show you these FPGAs. I don't get paid to tell you to go check out Minority because they're the only place that has them in stock. So you know why I do this, guys. It's for community engagement. Mineyour.biz, this spreadsheet alone should help you to have a little more data to make a better objective decision about your GPU purchases as you're looking at GPUs. The prices here they reflect what is currently available as an average on Amazon. Not perfect, but it gives you kind of a baseline comparison for what the sort of the middle of the market is doing. You can always, if you find them used, be aggressive, guys. Be aggressive with used card prices right now. Be very aggressive because there are people who are they're panic selling, right? So jump in there like a samurai and chase them down, okay? All right. Guys, I think that's what I got for you. Unless you got more questions about the Acorns. Kevin, you're still debating the Acorns for a 12 times 1060 rig. I'm with you. If you had 1050 Ti's, and there are a lot of really decent rig builds out there that do use 1050 Ti's or did use 1050 Ti's, I'd say it's probably an easier purchase to make, right? It's an easier decision to make. Just like, oh, cool. Each one of these 215 pluses will accelerate 4 of those cards. Like, no brainer, right? But it's kind of tough. Oh, Christopher, yeah, your M2s are busy with NVMEs. NVMEs, they do take up MTs. So you might need to get a Nest, possibly, in your case. So, yeah, as far as 1060s, I think the value is there, but you really have to know that it's an algorithm and a coin that you want. I mean, really, at the end of the day, like that's a great way to approach it, is say like there's a coin that I want or there's a network that I want to support. For example, if you know that you want to support Reddencoin, maybe that's a project that you like. Or if you know that you want to support Ravencoin because you see the profitability is still there, then start with the coin, start with the algo, and then maybe take a look at this and figure out the hardware and see if it makes sense for you guys. The data's there. I think it's great what GPU Hoarder's done and Squirrel's research. I think it's awesome. And hey, Ken brings up a really great point. The 101 is a good value for his RX 580s. And as you know, I'm a fan of the 580s. If you see that video over on BitTube, you'll know why. Right here, the GPU mining efficiency, you'll know why. I think so. But yeah. Yeah, it's not bad because it gives you all the efficiency of Kryptonite and Dagger Hashimoto on the RX 580 at very low cost, relatively low cost. So DN Trend is asking 1060 3 gig or 6 gig. And I think what they're talking about is this is a percentage performance increase, so probably both. But I'm here to tell you, if you're not seriously looking at the 6 gig model of the 1060s, you're doing yourself a disservice. You're not doing yourself any favors by looking at 3 gig or lower cards anymore, especially with Equihash 1445. Yes, if you saw JMS's live stream today, you know there've been rumors that Equihash 1445 is not as ASIC resistant as people think. And so even with Equihash 1445, 2 gig cards are kind of booted off the network. Haha! Corey, he got himself some acorns. Nice. Hey, Christopher, thanks for the shout out there, buddy. Guys, thank you for hitting that like button. I really appreciate that. Thank you for being subscribed. Thank you for hitting the bell icon. That's awesome. Thank you for the support, guys. It really means a lot. While you're on the channel, if I can ask one last favor before because we've been going live for about an hour and a half. I don't want to keep you up all night. But if you haven't looked at cryptoinfluence.io and then searched for Seth Estrada, I am on cryptoinfluence.io. Guys, this happened very unexpectedly. And guess what? My boost score is right up there with the YouTube reviewers that have 50 and 60 and 100, in some cases 100,000 subscribers or more. So I really appreciate you tuning in and asking questions and having a conversation with me and grilling some of these coin projects, right? When you see me maybe not asking tough enough questions, I appreciate you asking tough questions that I can then ask them as well. So pretty cool stuff. Guys, I really feel like this is a community victory. I can't take credit for this. You know what I mean? Like, some of my best questions for these projects, they're because of community. And I really appreciate your support. I really appreciate the support on the spreadsheet too, right? Sharing is caring. And we've helped each other kind of raise the average intelligence of the average miner. We're doing this together, guys. So I really appreciate it. If I can ask you one last favor, if you haven't already gone to cryptoinfluence.io, looked up my profile, and then hit the upvote button, do me a solid and hit that upvote button. It costs you nothing, and it really helps to put me in a position to potentially co-host panels at larger events and expos. Kevin, thanks so much, man. Those kind words mean a lot, and you know that I'm here to work for it, right? I'm here to make sure that we get better content. Right? We're having better conversations. So, Paulo, there should be a Discord link down in the description of this video, and it should be the bit.ly link that says MYB-Discord. So yeah, guys, if I could ask you that one last favor, you see right here, you see some info right there. This is their estimated price range. I'm going to let you in on a secret, guys. So what this platform doesn't tell you is it doesn't tell you the average amount of each video viewed. You guys watch my live streams and you watch my videos. So many of our community members watch them from start to finish that I actually have more view time than some of the other crypto YouTubers that have 60 and 80,000 subscribers, because we're having awesome conversations about stuff that actually matters. So again, guys, thank you. Bam Bam, appreciate the shout out there. Guys, thank you so much. Paul, you're right. I know it's getting corny. I know. I'm gushing all over you guys, but I'm truly appreciative. You got to know that, okay? All right, guys, without further ado, we should probably wrap this show up. Check it out over here. If you're going to order it over here. Love your face, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.